Use reduced row echelon form. Friends, this is gross, but let's set it up. What you do is you write out your own version of a matrix using the coefficients in order. So for -2, there's no z, so 0, 2. I like to put a little line there. You're allowed to do that. 5, -2, 1, 7, 3, 4, -1, 3. Now, what you're allowed to do is you're allowed to manipulate, okay, any of these rows, any two rows, and add things together in order to make something that ends up looking like this. What this will do is give us our answers. So I'm just making this up. If I end up with this tells me that my answer is 369. I use that because it reminds me of a Little John song. Get low. All right, now what I need to do is I need to end up getting that identity looking thing on the left. And what I want to do is I want to kind of find ways to puzzle things together to make stuff go away. So I'm going to manipulate rows, add or subtract, usually add, and replace one of those rows with what I get as a result. So the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to add the second row to the third row. And when I do that, when I add the second row to the third row, that eliminates this guy right here. And I'm going to replace the second row with my result. So the first row doesn't change. 4, -2, 0, 2. I'm adding the second and third row in an effort to make that 1 disappear, so it does. I'm replacing the second row, so the third row won't change. I'll deal with that in a second. This becomes 2, you become 8, and you become 10. The third row, I'm keeping the exact same for now. Now, I started out this way because I'm thinking, all right, what I can do now is I can make the first row become a 0 right here, and that kind of almost gives me that 1, 0, 0. It's not 1, 0, 0, it's 4, 0, 0, but that helps me out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the first row and the second row and replace that first row. So I'm going to add the first row and the second row and replace the first row. So first row plus second row, 4 plus 8 is 12. -2 and 2 becomes 0. 0 and 0 becomes 0. And 2 and 10 become 12. Keep everything else exactly the same. Now you might be thinking, oh man, if only that 12 was a 1, life would be good. Well, let's make it a 1. Let's divide the top row by 12, and then that wraps up our first row. So if we divide the top row by 12, we get 1, 0, 0, and 12 divided by 12 is 1. So now we have 8, 2, 0, 10 still. We have 3, 4, -1, 3. And we can kind of see things, forming out the way we want it to. We have that top right of zeros forming out. We just need to make u zeros and make u a 1 and make u a 1. So what I want to do now is I want to take, I want to make this 8 become a 0. So what I'll do is I'll multiply the top row by -8 in my head, add it to the second row, and replace the second row with what I get. So in my head, I'm multiplying the top row by -8. So you become -8 and 8, and I'm going to replace the second row. All right, so actually, why don't I do this? I can rewrite that first row. Nothing changes with the first row. So if I multiply the top row by -8, and I add it to the second row, replacing the second row, -8 plus 8 is 0. Good. -8 times 0 becomes nothing, nothing changes. -8 times 0 becomes nothing, nothing changes. -8 times 1 is -8 plus 10 is 2. So if you're thinking, oh, I see what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the same exact thing that I did up here to down here and divide this guy by 2. Sure am. Sure am. So I'm going to divide everything here by 2. So I get 1, 0, 0, 1. Divide u by 2, 0, 1, 0, 1. And now I have 3, 4, -1, 3. Okay, almost done. Almost home free. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to, let's get rid of u. And I can get rid of u. Multiplying this row won't do anything, but if I multiply the top row by -3 and add it to the bottom one, that -3 goes away. So let me write a little bit smaller just in case I need the space. Multiply the top row by -3 and add it to the bottom row. -3 times 1. So actually, why don't I do this? Just rewrite the top 2 rows. All right, multiply the top row by -3 and add it to the bottom row. -3 plus 3 is 0. 0, 0, so these two won't change, so you're 4 and -1 still. If I multiply the top row by -3 and add it to the bottom row, that becomes 0. That means nothing. Now let's do the same thing to the second row, where if I multiply the second row by -4, that allows me to get rid of u. So the top 2 rows, once again, will not change. But if I multiply the middle row by -4, 0, 0, nothing. -4 plus 4 becomes 0, 0, nothing. And if I multiply u to -4 and add it to 0, you become -4. So last but not least, I'm almost there. If I have 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, and if all I could do is multiply this bottom row by -1, which I will, that happens, you become +4, and I am finished. So the answer to this huge system of equations using row-reduced, row-reduced, echelon row form of the rows is 114. And that ding means that I'm done. Ding, fries are done. Thanks for watching. Bye.